Welcome to Wednesday Wandering with me, Kate Field. Wandering about stuff, not just wandering off. In this week of Remembrance, I'll be wondering about the importance and the significance of remembering those who gave their lives. And I'll tell a little bit about my own personal story. So in the UK, Remembrance Day is observed with both public and personal acts of commemoration. And the 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month is a poignant tradition where people throughout the country stop in reverence and in reflection. The silence is often observed in workplaces and schools and in public places, creating this rare moment of collective pause. Wreath-laying ceremonies take place at war memorials across the whole country, in towns and tiny villages, and most notable being at the Cenotaph in Whitehall, London, where members of the royal family, the government officials and veterans gather to honour the fallen. And red poppies, the symbol inspired by John McCrae's poem in Flanders Fields, are worn as a tribute to those who served and died. And the Poppy Appeal, run by the Royal British Legion, also raises funds to support veterans and their families and ensuring that their service and their sacrifices are remembered and respected. And the significance of Remembrance Day extends way beyond commemoration. I believe it serves as a call for peace and a reminder of the cost of war. And for many, it's a time to honour loved ones lost, to learn from the past, and to consider our responsibilities to prevent future conflicts. And remembrance traditions, I think, remind younger generations of the history that shaped their present time. And it helps to foster empathy and a deeper understanding while underscoring the value of peace and the connection with the past. And in a world that's so fast-paced and sometimes very detached from its own history, Remembrance Day, I think, provides this opportunity for individuals and communities to come together, to grieve, to honour, and to hope for a world where such sacrifices are no longer necessary. My great-grandfather, Frederick Augustus Abberley, died in the First World War, and he has a grave at the Teepval Memorial that my family discovered about 20 years ago. And it was quite remarkable. We knew that he had died. He died when my grandmother was unborn. And so she never knew her father. But we didn't know very much about it, and it was just not talked about, and as was quite common. And I feel that nowadays we do talk about this much, much more. But with the help of the Commonwealth Graves Commission, my parents found records of the battle and the grave, and realised that he wasn't just a name, he did actually have a grave. And that was because, although he didn't die at the battle, he was seriously injured. His body was then, he was still alive, and he was removed back to the hospital, and there he died. So we had his body, and that body was buried at Teepval Memorial. The Teepval Memorial is located on the Somme in northern France, and it's one of the most significant and moving monuments dedicated to those who fought and died in World War One. It's a fascinating place, constructed between 1928 and 1932 and designed by Edwin Lutyens, an architect renowned for really sensitive and monumental approach to war memorials. And it's huge, 45 metres above the Somme landscape on a big hill, and it's visible for miles. It's a real solemn reminder of the sacrifices made in one of the war's bloodiest campaigns. It bears the names of more than 72 100,000 British and South African soldiers who died on the Somme and who have no known graves, symbolising both their service and the grief of their loss. And the architecture of the Thiepval Memorial is striking and symbolic. It's red brick and white Portland stone, and it kind of blends that solemnity with a really imposing presence, multiple arches and symbolism of triumph and loss. And inscribed on the panels are the names of the thousands and thousands of soldiers, and it creates this amazing wall of remembrance that allows visitors to reflect. And below the arches lay the cemetery, and that contains 300 British and 300 French graves as a tribute to the Allied forces. And included in that is my great-grandfather. The impact of this, it's a site, it's difficult to put into words, it's a site of international remembrance, and every year visitors from around the whole world come to Thiepval to pay tribute to the fallen. There are annual ceremonies, July the 1st, the anniversary of the first day of the Battle of the Somme, draw people together to honour the memory of those who fought and to renew calls for peace. So for families like mine who lost ancestors in the war, the memorial holds really deep personal significance. And for us, we have an marked grave, and that's really special. So we can lay flowers on my great-grandfather's grave, but there are many who thousands and thousands who don't have graves. The memorial is a stark reminder of the devastating cost of war and the symbol of the enduring hope for reconciliation and peace. My husband's great uncles are also commemorated, not at Thiepval, but in two other places. One in a tiny cemetery that we did find, which was wonderful, and one at Vimy Ridge. And Vimy Ridge is the Canadian National Memorial. It's located at Vimy Ridge in northern France, and it stands again as a poignant tribute to the Canadian soldiers who fought and died during World War I. It was the site of the pivotal battle in April of 1917, where all four divisions of the Canadian Corps fought together for the first time, and the battle was a significant victory for the Allies, marking a defining moment in Canadian military history and a source of national pride. And the monument was designed by Canadian sculptor and architect Walter Seymour Allwood, who envisioned a lasting memorial to both the bravery of the Canadian troops and the tragedy of war. And this memorial rises from the ridge, and it's a striking and elegant structure with twin towers reaching nearly 30 metres into the sky, carved from limestone, and it stands as a beacon of resilience and remembrance. And inscribed are the names of more than 11,000 Canadian soldiers who died in France and who have no known graves. It's a real testament to them. The figures carved into the memorial's base are extraordinary. Universal themes of grief, sacrifice and hope, and including the Canadian bereft, the sorrowful woman draped in a cloak, representing the nation's grief for lost sons and daughters. And today the Vimy Memorial is a site of national pilgrimage and so symbol of Canada's role in the First World War. The surrounding land gifted to Canada by France is preserved as it was left after the battle, with shell craters and trenches and tunnels, and it provides visitors with a stark glimpse into the conditions endured by soldiers. And each year thousands of Canadians and international visitors like us come to Vimy to pay tribute to those who served. And the ceremonies on April the 9th, the anniversary of the battle, commemorate in the sacrifice. And Vimy Ridge, it's just another powerful reminder of the courage and the resilience and the lasting cost of war, inspiring reflection on the importance of peace and all of that sort of thing. And the red poppies. The red poppies have become the symbol of the most enduring it's a symbol of remembrance of those who died, and the association of World War One stems from, as I said before, the John McCrae's poem in Flanders Field, inspired by the fields of poppies that bloomed across the war-ravaged landscapes in Flanders in Belgium. And the sight of these delicate flowers growing in the soil devastated by conflict offered this real profound image of resilience and renewal. And McCrae's words brought the symbol of the poppy to everyone's attention, and its adoption as a symbol of remembrance soon followed. And in the early 1920s, the Royal British Legion adopted the poppy as an emblem for their annual Poppy Appeal. And it's a campaign that continues today for the support of veterans and their families. And my poppy has just fallen out. Oh, my lovely poppy here. So the poppies are worn and displayed across the UK and other Commonwealth countries as a token of remembrance. And the act of wearing a poppy serves as a small but meaningful gesture, inviting individuals to reflect on those sacrifices made by those who served, and to support those who carry the legacy of service in their own lives. So the poppies adorn the wreaths laid at the memorials, on lapels and on the graves of the fallen, sharing a shared visual statement of respect, gratitude and reflection. But the poppy also holds broader symbolic power, reminding us of the delicate balance between peace and conflict, and the responsibility we bear to honour the past. Fragile petals, testament to the human spirit, the resilience of the face of unimaginable hardship, and the embodying of the sorrow of loss, and the hope of a future free from war. The poppy remains the most widely recognised emblem of peace, collective remembrance and reverence, and an aspiration for a peaceful world. So remembering those people like my great-grandfather who served and sacrificed, we're reminded of the profound impact these lives had, not only in their time, but in ours as well. And today, as we pause to reflect, we can use art and poetry and our own creative expression to honour their memory in ways that are personal and enduring. And art, for me, allows us to capture the beauty of resilience and hope that endures in the face of loss. Poetry can give voice to our deepest reflections and gratitude, and through painting and writing, or just simply observing, we can find moments of stillness and contemplation, connecting with the past, honouring its relevance in our lives today. And I encourage each of you to consider creating something small, perhaps a few lines of verse, a little sketch, a doodle, a heartfelt note, to mark Remembrance Day in a way that resonates with you. And in doing so, we not only keep these memories alive, but we transform our reflection into acts of gratitude and hope, carrying forward a legacy of peace and remembrance for future generations. I really hope that you've got something from this week's Wednesday Wandering. It's something that's very, very personal to me. And thank you for watching or for listening. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.